Hello folks, I'd like to showcase a recent purchase I made and give you a reference of my history with this graphics card. Okay, back in 2017, my very first GTX 970 I purchased is this very PNY model. It's just a bland, you have to use those special display ports with mini HDMIs and DVI, but let me give you a little history lesson about this little card right here. I've been running this card for 8 years now, and it still works fine. Little tiny coil whine on the blower motor, but card takes drivers instantly, works. No artifact, no nothing. I like this card so much that I have probably at least 12 of these for backups, in case I have one of my 1080s go out, or just any of my, because I have a lot of computers, so I don't want to be left in the dark. I want something that's that I was able to get for a reasonably cheap price and have as backups. And I have a lot of these that I use for backups. I have a few in my systems, a couple of them, and the rest I'm using as reserves. Because no one wants to be without a graphics card. And to me, well, to be honest with you, this card plays at least 95% of what I want to play at the resolutions I want to play it at. At least 95%. Maybe a little more. Might be a few games, very few, that I want my 1080s and my 1080 Ti's to play. But for the most part, this does a admirable job with all the other ones, all the other games. So any system that one of those other cards I mentioned, that the card goes out, if it does, or when it does, well, we all know everything's going to eventually go out. So I find these as great, fill-in cards, because I just like these cards a lot. They delivered then and now. I still like the performance these cards offer. I bought this as my final. This is probably, for the record, I don't think I'm gonna buy anymore. But I wanted a nice founder's specimen of this card, which I didn't have yet. I have a bunch of EVGAs, PNYs, several variants of them. I even have a Asus Mini version of the card. I've got a couple of Asus Strix versions of the card, but I did not have a Founders. And I have a Founders of a lot of cards, like I have a Founders 1070 Ti, 1080 Ti, and of course I got a Founders first generation Titan. I have a first generation Titan X, and a Titan XP. And I was like, well, this is one of my favorite cards of all time that NVIDIA ever came out with. In my gaming revolution of going from, stuff like an FX 5500 back in 2004, upgrading to a 6200, and then going to a 9500 GT. That felt like a big jump, and then going from a 9500 GT to a GT240 felt like it was even more of a jump. And then I finally got into the building my own PCs. First card I ever used was GTS 250, so I went to that. Then I went to a 450, GTX 460. I finally hit in the GTX line with the 460. Like that card, great card. I have several of them as well. I like some of the versatility that those cards offer, so definitely another card that I have high regards for. I never really went past the 460 in the Fermi line, because those were the most efficient for the performance, and I thought they were the sweet spot. So I stayed with the 60 class for a long time. I eventually got a 560 Ti, a 660, a 660 Ti, got cards like that. I didn't for the longest have a 700 series card, like the 760 and 770. I have them now. I have a few of them now. But I jumped, I think, from the 660 to this. And I was sad. I was like, man. At the time, I think my first system I put one in was a i5 2500K. I was running Windows 7 on it. And I started playing GTA 5. I was like, man, this thing plays this game great. And I was like, man. Then I even played around with some SLI. And I started cranking it up to 1440p, maxing it out, you know, and even touching some of the extended stuff. And you know what? This performs pretty well. This is a solid card. And I remember them showing videos of, you know, like 290s, 970s and SLI in certain games are better than a 1080. And I can see that in some examples. But, you know, like I said, to me, this culminates into a great card. I know this is 2025. This card's 10 years old. Almost 11 now. But to get I went ahead and I paid a little premium for this. I paid, I think, $75 for this card. Yeah, I did. Paid $75, which I've gotten most of my 970s recently. I bought a couple within the last year or two. And I was averaging $45 to $50 a piece on them. But this one I paid a little premium. It comes complete in box. It's got everything inside. They even put the seller even put some new seals on it to make it like a new. They wrapped it like in a present. Like this thing was premium packaged, shipped to me, and I'm telling you, to me, it was worth the extra $25 or $30 to get a specimen like this. I'm going to open it here shortly, but I just wanted to showcase what I consider probably one of NVIDIA's greatest cards. I know it's a controversial card, because, yeah, 512 megabytes of the memory isn't full speed, but this is still a powerhouse card. And I still, to this day, tell anybody, it's like, man, if you want to get a $50 card that still delivers the goods, this is a great option. I still, to this day, this is a great, versatile option. I mean, you can even run this on XP if you want to. There's a modified driver that will run this card on XP if you want to. It's not practical. No, absolutely not. I do not recommend Maxwell cards for XP. I honestly don't work, when it comes to NVIDIA cards, I wouldn't recommend anything past Fermi on XP. And Fermi's kind of a light recommendation there. I'd really say Tesla. Just get you a high-powered Tesla card for XP. You'll get the best all-around experience with it. But just regarding this, it's just such a versatile card. They're still receiving driver updates in 2025. This is July of 2025. This card is still, this architecture, Maxwell will go down, I think, as one of their best architectures. And it's just, it's one of those things that was just kind of in that little golden zone where they actually still wanted to, I think, make cards that, you know, are actually desired. And like I said, the performance is still solid. I think it's a very solid card, and I highly recommend it. But anyway, we'll do a boxing. I've got to test the card out to make sure it works, obviously. But judging from the seller feedback and the way they wrap this thing, I have a high feeling that this card's going to work. But I got to test it anyway, and I will probably continue the video on that note. But this is Matt for part 1 signing off.